In the Buzz, this is what we're talking about. The world is taking time today to remember the legend that is Michael Jackson, but not everyone thinks he should be memorialized. In an online video, New York Congressman Peter King says that society is glorifying a person he calls a lowlife while ignoring the efforts of teachers, police officers, firefighters, veterans, and volunteers. Take a look at this.
This guy was a pervert, he was a child molester, he was a pedophile, and to be giving this much coverage to him day in and day out, what does it say about us as our country? I just think it's too, it's too politically correct. No one wants to stand up and say, we don't need Michael Jackson. He died, he had some talent, fine. There's people dying every day. There's men and women dying today in Afghanistan. Let's give them the credit they deserve.
He also was talking about, this guy's a singer and a dancer who is a talented guy, but let's not forget, Jackson was acquitted of molesting a boy, but there were lots of questions surrounding it. He called Tommy Mottola Satan. He hung his son Blanket over crowds in Germany.
He named his son Blanket.
He named his son Blanket. I mean, I'm surprised, actually, that only now is someone coming out and saying all this stuff.
He makes some relevant points, and there are people that die every day. There are people that do very heroic things that die every day. But who's ever heard of Peter King before today?
Oh, I have. I mean, I'm from New York, so I've heard
okay, who here is not from New York and has heard of Peter King? No one. Who is this guy?
The only Peter King I know writes for Sports Illustrated.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, but he says that wasn't him.
But but listen, I don't care whether Peter King is a somebody or a nobody, because I think what he is saying is a valid thing. I mean, throngs of people, coming. We were just reading, Patrick, you and I this morning, someone came over, spent $2,000 on a plane ticket from Spain to stand outside. And let's be honest, he's a drug user. He is a, there are lots of things about...
I think there's a bigger issue with the whole drug use, is the prescription drugs are legal drug pushing, but that's a whole other thing.
That is a whole other thing, because here's the thing, he was an abuser of drugs, as we've come to find out. He was a guy who was shrouded in mystery, shrouded in controversy, certainly had a terrible upbringing. I mean, and we now know that he didn't leave any money to his father.
That all makes a celebrity, though. The drug use, the terrible upbringing, the secrecy, that's what makes a celebrity.
But do we think, what do you think, Patrick? Do you think this is too much?
Scared.
Do you think this is too much, or do you think this is appropriate for someone at this level of talent?
Well, I mean, I deal a lot with athletes that have controversial situations, whether it be with steroids or extramarital stuff, and or money and all that sort of thing.
Or A-Rod is all three.
That's true. I mean, I think, talent-wise, Michael Jackson, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I grew up with Michael Jackson was, like, he was MTV. When the music videos exploded, it was Michael that was making these little movies, and he was really an icon. After, say, like, in the mid-90s, things started to turn south for him when you started hearing about the stuff with the kids, and then it turned into the drugs. And you got to remember, too, at least I think, that he settled with that family and spent millions and millions of dollars. So to me, that's an assumption of guilt, and he wasn't,
I think this is a celebration.
Clean as ivory soap here. So
it's a celebration
celebrate his music, celebrate his talent, but there's no doubt that there's a lot of controversy surrounding this.
I am glad that someone is standing up and saying this. I am glad that someone is saying, listen, this kind of idol worship that we have in this country for this man who was so clearly flawed and tortured by his own demons, for us to be throwing ourselves at the feet of this man is idolatry in some ways.
I agree, but does Peter King really need to come out on this?
Well, I don't care about Peter King. It could have been anybody. I'm just glad somebody is saying, hey, we're seeing, there's a story about a woman who stands at a funeral. Her husband has passed away, and she hears person after person, memorializing this man and blah, blah, blah. And so finally she goes over and she takes a peek in the casket and she goes, was that the same guy that I was married to all those years? So I am glad that we're not just saying, listen, this was a man of perfection, that we should elevate to the level of sainthood.
No, I think you should idolize your mother and father if you're fortunate to have both still around, or, close friends and things like that. But I live in a world of people idolizing athletes. And, a lot of these guys don't want to be idolized. You know, they want to be, you know, I'm not a role model. Charles Barkley made that famous.
I love my dad, but he has not had 7 singles in one album. He has not done it.
Courtney, I know this is a hot topic, and certainly, I mean, Michael Jackson, you know, people call him a creative genius. There is a lot that he's contributed to the entertainment world. So I'm curious what people are saying this morning about all this coverage and the fans flocking to this memorial service.
I've been seeing some different opinions from, you know, last week when we started covering it or the week before to today, and most people are saying it's pretty much overplayed, or, you know, we're at the end of all of this, and that's what Max thinks. He thinks it's overplayed, and our technical director, E-Rock, says way too much coverage. He hasn't really been relevant outside his legal issues in nearly 20 years. Had this been the MJ of 1984 or the MJ of 1992, I'd have cared a lot more, and one artist thinks this will all be over soon. So we do have a poll here on FoxProvidence.com. We're asking, do you think Michael Jackson's death is getting too much fanfare? Your choices are A, yes, the attention is excessive, or B, no, he deserves it. He's the king of pop. So you can weigh in there and also read all of the coverage we have going here on FoxProvidence.com. And also on Facebook, we have some of our fans weighing in, and they all are saying the same thing. They're saying, yes, too much fanfare. Absolutely, enough is enough. I agree. So everyone's pretty much on the same page. But if you're not, we'd love to hear from you. So you can come on the live blog and chat with us. But I'll be back in 30 minutes with your poll results. For now,